Before it's too late, here are 5 habits that quietly shorten your life after the age of 60. And how you can break them. Have you ever considered the possibility that you might be murdering yourself without even being aware of it? The majority of us have the misconception that aging is something that is beyond our ability to control. Something that is etched into our DNA and put away by the passage of time. The truth of the matter is, however, that our daily routines have a greater impact on how we age and how long we live than we would want to accept. As a matter of fact, a great number of people are inadvertently wasting away valuable years by making decisions that, at the time, appear to be inconsequential and unimportant. They are not merely undesirable routines, rather, they are stealthy robbers who steal away our vigor, clarity, and time in a stealthy manner. To add insult to injury, the majority of them do not manifest themselves in grandiose manners. There is no alarm, there is no suffering, there is no event that makes headlines. However, as time passes, they gradually accumulate to the point where it is difficult to undo the damage. In this video, we are going to take a detailed look at 5 behaviors that have the potential to significantly reduce the amount of time you live. Moreover, we are going to save the most surprise one for the very end. There are a few of these that you could identify in yourself or in someone you care about. Also, if you do, you shouldn't let it discourage you. The purpose of this movie is not to frighten you, rather, it is to shed a mild light on patterns that we frequently neglect and to provide straightforward procedures that can be taken to turn things around. Therefore, if you are someone who wants to safeguard your mind, your body, and your time on this planet, or if you simply want to feel better as you get older, then you should remain with us. This 10 minutes could very well be the most valuable 10 minutes of your day. Now, let's get something going. Sleep deprivation that is persistent comes in first place. Maintaining a hectic schedule, persevering despite exhaustion, and accomplishing one's goals is nearly synonymous with a noble attitude, irrespective of how exhausted you may be. But here is something that a lot of people are unaware of. Cutting your sleep short on a regular basis is the same as giving your body time that it has borrowed and paying a high interest rate. Sleep is more than simply a sleep, it is a repair. Your brain is cleaning away the garbage, your heart is slowing down to recover, and your cells are performing their nighttime maintenance. This is the time of day. The mental clarity, immune system, and heart health of an individual are all negatively impacted when they do not get enough sleep. Even if it is only for an hour or 2 per night. Your chance of having a stroke, cognitive loss, diabetes, and even dying prematurely can increase as a result of this over time. Sleep deprivation is an issue because it rarely feels like an emergency. Even though you could feel a little hazy and a little more angry, you are still able to carry out your job. The fact why it is so hazardous is due to this. Despite the fact that your body is slowly disintegrating underneath, it gives you the impression that everything is okay. I want you to understand that during sleep, your brain is able to consolidate memories and sweep out the waste that has accumulated throughout the day. If you do not get enough of it, those toxins will build up, which will have an effect not just on your thinking but also on your mood and your ability to make decisions. As a result, you begin to lose your temper with loved ones, forget appointments, or have difficulty concentrating. There is a haze that covers time. Instead of being thoughtful, you revert to a reactive state. In the meantime, let's talk about David, a retired school principal who is 72 years old and used to boast about being able to function on only 5 hours of sleep. As a result, he believed that he would have more time to keep up with his friends, enjoy his hobbies, and remain physically active. However, by the time he reached the middle of his 70s, he had observed a gradual loss in his equilibrium, memory, and mood. The revelation that his chronic lack of sleep was hastening the aging process came as a complete surprise to him when he went to see his physician. After making sleep a priority, establishing a routine to wind down, avoiding devices before bed, and adhering to a schedule, he experienced a marked improvement in his mental clarity and calmness within a few weeks. His relationships became more positive. He experienced a sense of 10 years of youthfulness. And he came to the realization that true freedom does not come from doing more, but rather from honoring what your body genuinely requires. It's time to rethink your approach to sleep if you've been treating it as if it were a nice-to-have luxury. There is no escape from life that is rest. Specifically, it is the basis of it. A continual low-grade stress level is the second factor. When it comes to dealing with stress, there are some people who believe that they are doing okay if they are not experiencing panic attacks or breaking down in tears. However, distress is not always audible. In point of fact, the most harmful sort is frequently the one that is the least noticeable. The kind that continually hums just below the surface, day after day, wearing you down without your even being aware of it, worrying about one's financial situation, experiencing feelings of being unappreciated, harboring animosity, or forcibly smiling through weariness are all examples of the insignificant things that can happen. Your mood isn't the only thing that is impacted by this gradual buildup of emotional strain. Cortisol is released into your system in large quantities, which causes inflammation of your blood vessels, an increase in your blood pressure, and a reduction in your immune response. By doing so, stress transforms into a covert factor that contributes to the development of cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disorders, and even some cancers. It's possible that you won't feel it piling up, but your body will, when you continue to have stiff shoulders, a knotted stomach, and your breath never fully deepens. You are experiencing a state of tension. You are currently stuck in survival mode with your body. As time passes, the efficiency of your systems tends to decrease. Your digestive system is negatively affected. Your sleep becomes disrupted, and your brain continues to be wired when it ought to be quiet. You may begin to snap at the people you care about. When you look for your keys, you can't find them, as if you were present but not really there. You feel exhausted but restless. It is like going through life with a thick coat that you forgot you were wearing. And it does not disappear after a week has passed. It is not always evident where it came from, and it is frequently emotional weight that you have been dragging about for years. This is why it persists throughout your life. Please allow me to tell you about Linda, a widow who is 68 years old and who managed to keep herself occupied after the death of her husband. She wore a grin on her face at all times, volunteered her time, assisted with her grandchildren, and went to church. Nevertheless, she carried a silent melancholy, whispered anxieties about her health, and a nagging feeling that she never had time to breathe. All of these things were hidden beneath the surface of everything, as a result of the early warning signals of heart disease that were discovered at a routine exam. Her physician suggested that she take a deeper look at her levels of stress. On a daily basis, Linda started meditating for 10 minutes, writing in her diary in the evenings, and refusing to complete chores that she didn't really want to accomplish. Surprisingly, she noticed an increase in her energy. Her connections appeared to be more sincere, and her health began to gradually improve. It took some time for the weight to go away, but she eventually quit carrying it by herself. Learning to control your stress does not mean becoming emotionless. Creating room to feel, to process, and to rest is the focal point of this endeavor. Sometimes this requires reaching out for assistance. There are occasions when it involves forgiving someone who has never expressed regret. Additionally, it frequently entails simply remaining still and taking deep breaths. Simply making these minor adjustments will not only make you feel better. These things make you live longer. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. Third, consuming meals that have been exceedingly processed. It's true that the majority of people think of food as fuel all the time. Nevertheless, not all fuels are created equal. When you consume a diet that is mostly composed of highly processed foods, such as frozen meals, packaged snacks, sugary cereals, and fast food, you are providing your body with chemicals, preservatives, and empty calories rather than the nutrients it requires to recover and grow. These foods are frequently devoid in fiber, loaded with additives, and designed to generate an addictive response in the consumer. They are not just responsible for the accumulation of fat. Not only do they cause inflammation, but they also cause your blood sugar to become unstable and weaken your stomach, which is directly tied to your immune system, your mood, and even the function of your brain. The fact that these items are practical, inexpensive, and frequently have a pleasant flavor is the tough part. In situations where you are exhausted, pressed for time, or simply not in the mood to cook, it may seem like a harmless idea to grab a bag of chips or microwave something that is already packaged. However, as time passes, the damage increases. A chronic state of inflammation develops. Your energy takes a dip. Alterations occur in your skin. Your recollection seems to be a little cloudier. You may also attribute it to the passage of time. In actuality, however, your cells are having a difficult time performing their functions because they are not receiving the resources that they require. On the basis of soda and bleach, you would hardly anticipate a garden to flourish. Therefore, why would you expect your body to do that? Additionally, there is the emotional aspect. When they are feeling lonely or nostalgic, a lot of people, especially older ones, resort to foods that they can make them feel at ease. They want to reminisce about Sunday afternoons with a slice of pie. A milkshake from the drive-thru feels like a tasty delicacy from a more enlightened time. In addition, there is nothing wrong with the act of enjoying food as an experience. Nevertheless, the problems arise when these meals become a daily habit rather than an occasional indulgence. It is simple to get into patterns in which the microwave takes over as the primary instrument of cooking and colorful packaging takes the place of actual veggies. When something like that occurs more frequently, your body will start to struggle more and more. Give me the opportunity to tell you about Carl, a retired mechanic who was 75 years old and lived by himself after the death of his wife. Not because he was lazy, but rather because it was more convenient and familiar to him. He ate out of cans and boxes for a number of years. Initially, he was unaware of the alterations going on. There is a slight increase in joint pain, a slight increase in weariness, and a few additional pounds. However, Carl realized that he needed to make a change when his blood pressure began to rise and his physician warned him about the possibility of becoming prediabetes. His first step was to make some basic adjustments, such as exchanging his sugary cereal for oatmeal and fruit, exchanging soda for water, and preparing one meal every day using actual food. Not only did he experience a reduction in his weight within a short period of time, but he also observed improvements in his mental clarity and his psychological stability. More than just a place to dine, the kitchen evolved into a place of healing. It is a common misconception that eating healthily requires one to sacrifice delight. But the reality is quite the reverse. Your life will feel more light and airy when your body is feeling nourished. As the fog lifts, the aches begin to lessen. You are able to contribute more to other people and enjoy more for yourself at the same time. If you want to trade convenience for vitality, it is never too late to do so. It is possible to regain decades of health that processed foods have stealthily taken away with only a few simple adjustments. Isolation from others is the fourth issue. When compared to loudness, there is a type of silence that is more audible. The kind of laughter that fills a house on days when no one has called in. When dinner is eaten by one person. And when laughter is a memory rather than a sound. Isolating yourself from others has repercussions beyond your emotions. Through a gradual process, it deprives both your body and mind of the connection that humans are designed to have. A number of studies have demonstrated that loneliness can be just as detrimental to one's health as smoking or being overweight. Cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and premature death are all increased as a result of this. On the other hand, The issue is that it does not necessarily appear to be loneliness. There are moments when it appears to be independence. At times, it may appear as though you are isolating yourself in order to avoid becoming a burden. There is a distinction to be made between being alone and being isolated. It is possible to find calm and nourishment in alone, particularly when it is chosen. But when contacts grow less frequent and habits become more strict, isolation begins to set in. Some of your children may have relocated. Possibly, your spouse has passed away. It could be that health problems make it more difficult to leave. Although it is easy to comprehend the reasoning, the consequences are still the same. Stimulation is necessary for your brain. Laughter is something that your heart needs. An affectionate touch, even if it's only someone remembering your name or placing their hand on your shoulder, is really beneficial to your body. Let's talk about Eleanor, who just turned 80 years old and has been a resident of the same house for more than half a century. Her husband had passed away, and she had fewer friends, so she began to spend the most of her days in front of the television. Despite the fact that she told herself that she was fine and that she enjoyed the peace and quiet, she secretly longed for conversation. She yearned to be required. Her physician observed alterations, including a slowed speech rate, increased disorientation, and signs of despair. Eleanor began going to a senior center in the neighborhood once a week after being encouraged to do so by her daughter. Initially, she put up a defense. She was adamant about not being perceived as someone who required assistance. But as soon as she started the journey, everything was different. New pals were created by her. She gave another chuckle. Her vigor came back to her. She experienced a sense of being herself. The truth is as follows. The power of relationships is medicine. The importance of community cannot be overstated. Not only does being seen, heard, and loved add years to your life, but it also adds years to your consciousness. You do not require a large number of pals or an ongoing companionship. One individual who is aware of your history and is concerned about how you are doing can make a significant impact in your day. There is never a time when it is too late to reach out to individuals, regardless of whether you have distanced yourself from them due to pride, habit, or fear. Make a phone call. Get a letter written. Have a neighbor over for a cup of coffee. Create the opportunity for connection. Because, just like the rest of the body, the heart requires regular maintenance. Additionally, it recovers more quickly when it is in the company of other people. I would appreciate it if you could use the fourth comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. As the fifth point, you should constantly keep it in your emotions or urine. One of these can take you by surprise, not only because it is rarely discussed, but also because it affects a greater number of people than you might imagine given the circumstances. There are a lot of people who, particularly as they get older, develop the tendency of keeping things down. And I'm not simply referring about their feelings here. Not only do they not want to be a nuisance, but they also believe that they can wait a little bit longer. This is what I mean when I say that they are physically holding their urine in. It's also possible that they find public restrooms to be unsettling. This habit, on the other hand, discreetly puts considerable strain on the kidneys and the bladder over time, raises the risk of urinary tract infections, and may even contribute to long-term damage in the muscles that make up the pelvic floor. What may appear to be a minor discomfort might ultimately pile up, particularly when combined with changes in urinary health that are associated with aging. However, the emotional impact of this behavior may be much more detrimental to one's well-being. It is possible to generate a kind of inner tension that does not go away on its own if you hold your feelings in, regardless of whether they are grief, irritation, despair, or even joy, in the same way that pressure builds up inside of a balloon. Feelings that aren't expressed sometimes find their way to the surface in various ways, such as through persistent discomfort, stomach troubles, anxiety, or sleep problems. The human body is a clever creature that is constantly searching for a release. It will murmur through symptoms if you do not give it the opportunity to speak. And with time, those whispers will become more audible from the inside out. I would want to tell you about Walter, a man who was 76 years old and took great pride in the fact that he never complained. His upbringing instilled in him the belief that true strength consisted of remaining silent, not burdening others, and enduring difficult circumstances. Over the course of several years, he endured back discomfort, disregarded indications of sadness following his retirement, and even skipped bathroom breaks during extended outings because he did not want to give the impression that he was weak. A serious urinary tract infection and indications of clinical depression were eventually brought on by the combination of physical strain and emotional suppression, which ultimately resulted in the individual being admitted to the hospital. The realization that appearing to be fine when you are not is not bravery was not something that Walter came to realize until after he had recovered from his injury. Listening to your body and honoring the boundaries you set for yourself are the keys to true strength. There is an old proverb that states, "What you resist will persist." This is especially true with regard to the state of your health or well-being. You will not become more resilient if you choose to disregard signals, whether they be a full bladder or a full heart. This makes you more susceptible to harm. The ability to learn to excuse oneself for a restroom break, to tell someone how you truly feel, or to cry when you need to is not a sign of weakness by any stretch of the imagination. Such is the wisdom. The kind of self-respect that adds years to your life and life to your years is the kind that you demonstrate here. This is a kind invitation, so please accept it. Listen to your body or heart the next time it tells you, "I need a break," and then take a step back. Speak up, and let go. It is possible that the things you let go of today will be the very things that heal you tomorrow. My ideas about vinyl. Not all of the behaviors that we have discussed today are loud or evident all the time. There are no news stories about them, despite the fact that they do not appear with flashing red lights. They are significant. These factors have a significant impact on how we age, how we feel, and ultimately how much time we have to spend with the people we care about and engaging in activities that are most important to us. The good news is that this is the case. Altering one's behavior is never too late. It is not necessary for you to transform into a different person overnight. All that is required of you is to become aware of the habits that are stealthily stealing from your future and to make a conscious decision to change your behavior one moment at a time. Perhaps this requires going to bed 30 minutes earlier than usual. Perhaps you need to get in touch with someone you have been away from. Something as simple as exchanging a frozen dinner for something fresh or allowing yourself to cry for the first time in a while could be the solution. Little acts that are done on a daily basis make a greater difference than large gestures that are done just once. The pursuit of perfection is not the point here. Care is a matter of being selective. Take good care of your physique. Take care of your mentally. Have respect for your time. Considering that you have made it this far in the video, it is clear that you are concerned about a significant aspect of your life. There is concern for your well-being. You are not the type of person who is simply allowing the years to pass. You are someone who desires to be here in this place to the fullest extent. Someone who still has things to share and memories to create for themselves. This is not something that can be said by most people. In addition, that is something that you, my friend, should be proud of. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts with us since we value them and want to hear them. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.